tudo bem? Nós somos do High School e estamos aqui com uma apresentação maravilhosa, um bate-papo, na verdade, para vocês apreciarem os nossos professores. Nós estamos aqui com o Regi e o nosso professor Richard, os nossos dois alunos, o Leo e o Enzo. O Leo e o Enzo vão fazer uma entrevista com os professores e vocês vão ver que como é bacana a gente estar fazendo esse programa. The interview is going to be in English, though, and we're going to put the subtitles below, okay?
All right, so first question. So both of you have studied at the US, and what I would like to ask is, how was the experience there compared to here, and how does the Missoula High School program comes close to that?
Well, many years ago when I was in your group, I went to a private school, and it was a religious run by the Franciscan priests, friars. So we were kind of different and controlled. We wore a shirt and tie every day to help influence us to be professional in what we did. The courses were challenging, but I survived without any difficulty and went on to further my career. But it is quite different from the education here in Brazil. And surprisingly enough, though, your education program originally started back in the 40s. They adopted the educational platform from the United States. But today I see it quite changed. The initial courses that you take in high school come nowhere near the courses that we have in American high school, which you've both partaken in with the special program.
Right. Well, I guess the big difference I noticed was, because I studied like first year high school in Brazil, and then I went to the US, and I noticed that in the US there were a lot more electives. So when I was in high school in Brazil, there were only the standard set classes, so math, physics, and etc. Whereas in the US, if I had any special interest like languages, health, I could take any special classes that would actually help me for university. So like already with the intent of if I plan to go to university. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed about high school in the US, that I could try different areas until I was ready to go to university. And of course, in those 4 years, I was able to change my mind from one thing to another and then change back.
Yeah, I got yourself more comfortable, right?
Yeah, so you get different opportunities that I didn't feel I had in Brazil. And what was the second part? The second compared to
Missoula.
Yeah, what we do here now. I guess the course here, we're trying to do the same thing to the Brazilian students, is to give them that opportunity with the support of the university. And that makes a big difference with all the technology involved as well.
Got it.
All right. The second question was to Regi, and you live some time in England, and I'd like you to tell us a bit of the experience you had there.
Well, I guess it's Europe, so everything is slower. So I was in England for 15 years, and I was also teaching there. I did teach like not in high school, but high school students. Yeah, it's a different experience. I mean, the English. One thing is that the English changes from one city to another, so it's kind of different, like in Brazil or even in the U.S., where it's a state thing because of the side of the country. From like one place to the other. Like if you were in Santo André and you went to São Bernardo, you would use a different vocabulary. So that was very challenging. Nowadays, the university and even the high school programs are trying to be closer to the ones in the U.S. In terms of what electives they offer and how they prepare people for the future. And I guess in those 15 years, it's basically that. Not much sunshine, not much salt in the food, but it was a very nice experience.
Yeah, I can personally. I know personally about the no salt in the food.
Yes, it's a big challenge.
Right, so for the next question, I'd also like to know what made you to join in the high school program here in Missoula.
Well, in all of my career, I've always been involved in education, whether it be in medicine, marketing. Education is important because you're allowing the consumer, to be educated with things that they may not know or need. When I was first offered the position, I was actually traveling in the United States when I got the phone call. And one of the requirements at that time for the program is that the teachers had to be native English speaking. Okay, you couldn't have a Brazilian who spoke English. It had to be native English speaking, and that was the requirement. And I fit the bill because of my background and my degree with regards to marketing, medicine. So both of those fit in nicely. When we first started, though, I had all the English courses. But as we started to expand the courses, I gave English to my opposite colleague, and I stood with the structured program of medicine, health, history, health, marketing, and economics.
Mm.
Well, the thing is, I was in England, and then one of the reasons I left was because I also wanted a new professional experience. So in England, I was mostly just teaching private English in private schools, and I was, wanting the next step, which was either teaching a bilingual program or something similar to that. And that's when I came across Mizu, and it was just very interesting that I could put my experience in the classroom as an English teacher, but also my experience as a student in a high school program, because I studied high school in the U.S., so I knew how more or less it works and the kind of support that universities will try to give students. And it just seemed like a new and interesting opportunity for me after like 25 years teaching, mostly just English as a second language. And that's when, this actually the whole idea of the program itself and how much it's connected to the university. So these like two things that come together. And also because it's not just a 1-year program, it's a 4-year program. So you have the whole process that the student goes through, which is quite interesting.
When did you come back from England?
August 19th, 2023.
Oh, 2023.
It's been a year now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but it was a bit more time, but sure.
Yeah, I've adapted well.
It's good.
Now, to Richard, why do you teach health and marketing? You said you had some experience.
Well, my primary degree from college was marketing and economics. Okay. Shortly after graduating, I went into the military because of the requirement of the draft during the Vietnam War. So I had to go. While I was in the Marine Corps, I took some courses on emergency treatment. Back then, basically, Marine Corps does not have medical people. They're all part of the Navy. But they were taking those who chose to, that were grunts, which is people that carry a rifle and backpack and go traveling through the woods. They were treating some of us to become the backup for the corpsmen. And that's where I got interested in medicine. When I came out of the service, I got involved in a volunteer fire company and ambulance service. And from there, I went back to school and pursued my medical training as a paramedic. I have my diploma as a paramedic in college level. And I also went back to become a nurse. And I also have a degree in nursing. So it was an obvious choice when it came to deciding what courses I would teach versus my colleague, that I had the marketing and economics background. I have the health background, and I'm an American. So history in the United States education is very important. Okay. You should be able to walk out of any American high school and know the history of your country.
So until now, we've been asking questions about your experience or your past. So now to change it up a bit, I'd like to ask, if someone asked, why should I join the Mizzou High School program? What would you answer?
I am a big promoter of being able to speak 2 languages. Many of the students that I've encountered before coming to the Mizzou program, they had no concept of what English is or how important it is. The 2-language system gives you an edge in many different opportunities once you complete your education and start looking into the work market. That 2-language is key to a lot of successes. I've had probably 7 or 8 private students that are now living in the United States with degrees, and because I have that second language, have been very successful. So it's a benefit, not only the education part of it, but practicing and utilizing a second language.
Yeah, no, I think also on that is like, even if you're not going to use it, let's say ever again, but just having that experience kind of opens your mind and you get to see the world with a different view. And it's just not something that stays with you forever. And I guess when you're here and you see the program, how it works in the US, you also have like a second opinion. So it just opens your horizons in that aspect. Also, let's say like in 10 years, you decide you want to go live abroad. So now you have this. And also it's great because at a very young age, which is like at this age, when you're a teenager, your main aim is to study. And, when you get older and you have to work and you have other responsibilities, it's very difficult to apply yourself to your studies as you would when you're in the high school program, because basically that's your whole life. And it just makes things easier. It makes it easier to learn the language, to develop in the language, and to successfully complete the course.
What is the criteria to become a Mizzou high school teacher?
Dedication. That's one thing that I'm able to do. I'm able to share my experiences related to the courses that I'm teaching. I think that adds to the ability for you to absorb a different understanding. There's a big thing in the education that we haven't mentioned, and that's culture. Okay, you've been raised to learn in the Brazilian culture of education. American education is different. Okay, we like to expand, we like to explore, we like to use examples to try and get that message through. And the fact that Mizzou offers you classes that you don't really have in Brazilian high school, okay, also gives you a secondary outlook of what world events are like.
All right, now for the last question. So for people doing the Mizzou High School, and for people also not doing it, but thinking of doing it, not only for studying abroad, what do you think the Mizzou program would give you an edge on later on in your life?
Job possibilities. If you choose to go to any university outside of Brazil, the program certificate of American diploma gives you an edge on the concern of the school deciding to accept you as a new student or not. Even in the job record, having 2 diplomas at 2 different high schools, that gives you an advantage in many different aspects. And if I may, we just had one student, okay, that finished the program and has now been offered to enter a program that's just been started where the university's total courses are in English. Okay? What better way to learn the language, especially at a university level in English without having to travel abroad? So that's an opportunity in itself.
I guess when the class where you have the writing, it also gives you that critical thinking aspect. So it helps you develop your writing skills. How to write an essay, but these are the tools that actually helps you think and see the world. And I guess these are like skills that just stay with you forever. And so you have the immediate advantages, which is taking you to university level or to a better job, but you also have the life skills. And that's the good thing, because you're going to be developing in the writing course things of how to organize your ideas. And I think that can also go back to your studies in Brazil. So the skills are transferable. That's the magic of the music part.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that was the last question. And I share a lot of the things that have been said here by both of you, because for me, this is really what high school made me experience. Some of the stuff there are not in Brazilian high school that I'd like to have it been added. And some stuff that I've been seeing in high school actually have been applied to my real life. I did apply them. And I said, wow, maybe without high school, I wouldn't have been able to do this and that. So I am grateful for the course, and I see real growth since my first year of high school, since I entered since I entered high school.
Yeah, personal growth and professional growth, I see as well.
Well, and that was all. Thank you both for your time.
Thanks
The
for having
interview
us.
was
Thank you for the questions.
you.
The interview was very nice, and hope we can be this sort of maybe podcast again, or maybe do something. Well, that was it.
Very good.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.